The family of Crimean Tatar Artem Chihoz was among thousands Soviet leader Joseph Stalin deported from the Black Sea Peninsula during World War II. Only towards the latter 1980s, during Perestroika, did they manage to return. After the Soviet Union collapsed, key figures such as the Russia-leaning Yuri Meshkov, Crimea's only ever president between 94 and 95, attempted to influence opinion, but the Crimean Tatars demanded to be part of Ukraine.
We didn't have a roof over our heads. It was in the beginning of the 90s. Thousands of people went to protests. Almost everyone. Ukraine is not Russia, and we knew it. We have always felt it.
According to Artem Chihoz, the Kremlin was already cultivating the myth of the Russian Crimea back then.
It's easier to say that Crimea has always been Russian than it is to say that they spilled blood over Crimea, cleared it from the indigenous people, Crimean Tatars, and thus planted Russianness there.
Khrushchev's gift. This was how Soviet ideologists described the transfer of Crimea to Ukraine in 1954, without mentioning the Peninsula state at the time. Poor agriculture, lack of electricity, as well as lack of food and water.
The whole weight of restoration was put on Ukraine's back.
The economic advantages of transferring Crimea were outlined in the decree of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet of the USSR. On April the 26th, 1954, the document was officially approved, and corresponding amendments to the constitution of Soviet Ukraine were made.
Crimea was given to Ukraine in accordance with the legislative documents which existed in the country. It wasn't just like someone took it by force.
Crimea was financed exclusively by the Ukrainian budget.
The agrarian sector, which was supposed to restore Crimea, make it fertile again, didn't belong to the Kremlin and wasn't controlled by it. Ukraine did everything possible to revive Crimea.
After Ukraine gained its independence, Leonid Kravchuk, who was the president at the time, asked economists to calculate the resources spent on the restoration of Crimea. According to him, the sum exceeded $100 billion.
We carried out irrigation, conducted water in Crimea, built roads, opened resorts. We changed Crimea's appearance. It started turning into a gem.
Until 2014, Crimea was receiving subsidies from Ukraine, which made up half of its budget, $340 million a year on average. After Russia annexed the peninsula, the damage to Ukraine is estimated to be at dozens of billions of US dollars. But Russian propagandists continue talking about the so-called gift.
It's done to justify their monstrous actions toward people whom they have been calling their brothers for centuries.